45. Brown, 45. Hot, 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 hot.
You are listening to Any Given Sunday, Australia.
Yes, hello and welcome to the Any Given Sunday Australia podcast, the number one podcast in at least 3 households, 1 studio, NFL Australia head office, American Football Australia head office, the ProKick head office. Another ProKick legend is joining me now. He's got some pretty big boots to fill. He's a ProKick punter out of the Big Ten. He's number 9 for the Hawkeyes, Mr. Rhys Dakin. How are you, mate?
Good. Glad to be here.
No, appreciate you coming on and giving up your time. It's you just mentioned before you come on, 9:30 at night where you are, and you're up for a 6 a.m. lift. That's dedication. I love it.
Bloody oath, yeah. Keen to get on it.
Mate, we're going to get straight into it. For those that have listened before, they know what it's all about. I just want to get inside your head a little bit and find out what kind of person you are. The most famous person in your phone right now who you could message and they'd hit you back.
I mean, it's Tory Taylor. He's probably going to see this, but I mean, he's out in the NFL. I haven't got any other NFL players in my contacts. So, he's doing pretty well. And, I'm going to go with Tory because I haven't got many people other than, NFL players. You know what I mean?
I do. Straight to the big dog. I don't have Tory in my phone, so you're ahead of me. So we will speak about Tory, but did you get to spend much time with him when you first got there?
Yeah, so he actually picked me up from the airport with my dad, and then I did an official visit, and he was there with it. Just sort of showing me around, driving me around, me and my dad, and got to see a bit of Iowa City with him, and then he showed me where I lived, and then he's busy in his rookie year of at the Chicago Bears, so haven't spent a whole lot of time with him. He did come to my first game, and he was on the sideline there with me, guiding me through it. He was also, I think he was at another game. He was going to come to Nebraska, but I think he pulled out because it's too cold. So, whoop-de-doo, but fair enough. But he has come and sat in our meetings every now and then. I've given him a call every now and then as well, asking about technical stuff and, just some other questions. So, he's been there when I need it. And, he's been real good.
He knows it snows in Chicago, right? So it's going to be pretty cold when he's playing.
Yeah, no, it's hard. It's hard out here.
So when you first get there, did you know about Tory Taylor before you headed over?
I did, yeah. Being in ProKick, we're encouraged to, learn about all the guys over here and get to know, memorize who's where and who's doing what. So I sort of heard about Tory, and then I looked him up on Instagram, and I saw a couple of cool, Big Ten Network interviews, and I think that would have been his junior years when I sort of started getting serious with ProKick, and then sort of found out about him. Had no clue I was going to be replacing him. And then, I met him early last year, I think it was around March or April, May, when he was coming back visiting. And then, I asked him a few questions, got to know him a little bit. And then, he went back and played the season. That's when I sort of started realizing, this guy can kick a ball. So, that's I sort of found out about him when I first joined, talking with all the boys and, hearing all the goss and who's doing what. So, yeah.
He can definitely kick a ball, and he's going pretty well at the moment down in the Bears. But
he is,
we'll go back to the start, mate. You're from Melbourne. You're a Melbourne lad like us. Is that where we were born and raised?
Yeah, born in Melbourne, in Wheelers Hill. Pretty close to where we trained, fortunately. That was in Burwood. So, little suburb kid, close to the city, close to the beach. So had it pretty well. Parents are great, got a little brother. He's 17 now. So, had it pretty good. Dad lived on a farm, got to experience a little bit of farm life. So it's funny how that correlates out here, where it's just corn and farming out here. So, grew up in Melbourne.
Has the little brother shown any interest in coming over to college?
Yeah, he reckons he wants to. He's playing Australian rules football and figuring all this what he wants to do, and I think he's getting pretty serious with his footy now. Pretty serious in the gym too. I think he's getting pretty strong, pretty big in that area. So who knows? I mean, I've brought him out to the Oval, had a kick with him, and little bits of hope, couple errors, but no, we'll see. He's still growing up, and I think he wants to do it. So I'm trying to get him. When I'm back, I'll take him to a ProKick session and get Johnny to take a look at him, chappy. Yeah.
You mentioned the AFL, but was that the only sport growing up? I think I read basketball. You weren't too bad at it either.
Yeah, played cricket as well. Basketball was probably what I wanted to pursue, like at around age 14, 15. Like I was getting pretty serious in that. And then I started sort of, getting a bit bigger and grew like a pretty fair bit in COVID. And that's when I started realizing, I could make something out of footy. So I'll give the footy thing a crack. Was playing pretty good footy up until the age of 18, which is when I sort of started punting. But so through high school, did some volleyball. Cricket was just a bit of fun, really, on the weekend. I was doing a fair bit. So it was basketball, footy, and cricket at the same time at some point. So, fair whack.
When did you kind of move towards that punting? Did you know much about the NFL before you got on the ProKick?
No, I had no clue about NFL. I had seen, a couple of glimpses of ProKick Australia's Instagram, and I didn't really think much of it. My mum being America, she's sort of had an idea of it, so I think she probably threw the idea out there a couple times, but I just ignored it as any teenager would. But and then my dad sort of saw it as well, and then we visited in America, in Arizona, which is where my mum's family is from, and there was a little kicking camp, so we thought that, all right, this would probably be the perfect time to sort of check it out and go have a look. So we went to this little kicking camp in Phoenix, Arizona, and got checked out by a couple of kicking coaches who usually train field goal kickers, but have a little experience in punting. So I went and checked them out. Put the cleats on and had a whack, and they said, I've got the power to go D1. I just got to go back and train with either ProKick or Punt Factory. And then, so I started looking at Punt Factory first, and then I went to a session with them, with Sav for about an hour, and then sussed out ProKick, went to a session there. That seemed to be fair bit more competitive, and there was a bigger group. So I figured, this would probably be a pretty good spot to, and it was closer to home. I can't remember where Punt Factory was, but it was a fair drive. So, ended up going with ProKick, and I think I made the right decision.
How did you find your time with the boys at ProKick, and how did you go adjusting? Playing AFL, it's obviously very different when you put the pads and the helmet on. How did you go adjusting to that?
Yeah. So one thing I left out actually is I joined a little, you probably know of it, the Gridiron Victoria. I played a little season with them prior to joining ProKick. So, once footy ended the season, had a little season with the Monash Warriors, which is, real close to where I lived. So went down, chucked the pads on. Took me a little bit of getting used to kicking with a helmet on. It's heavier than I thought it was at the time. So the pads, little bit different in maneuvering your arms and shoulders, but just tried to kick my best spiral in the league. Managed to get a little cheeky special teams MVP in that, and then that's I sort of had a leg up in kicking in pads and a helmet when I joined ProKick. By that time, I was actually wearing a Monash Warriors helmet to ProKick for a period in time, and their pads. Johnny gave me a little jersey. So, wearing the pads wasn't really an issue, and the helmet, when I first started sort of getting serious in ProKick. So, yeah, I was fortunate.
How did you find the time with ProKick, though, getting used to, obviously, they've got their own lifts and their own schedules and stuff like that, getting you ready for the transition across?
Yeah, I wasn't really used to waking up real early, so Dave definitely had a pretty big impact on like my mental strength and being disciplined. So when we were training with Dave, it was fair, like more than what I'd been doing, with footy. Learning how to properly squat and learning how to properly like hang clean and bench, I had no clue. So, it was definitely a pretty easy schedule for me personally. Like, I'd finished school. All I really did was, work, go to ProKick and then lift in the mornings with Dave. So it was actually I really enjoyed that lifestyle. And then, got really close with a few boys in ProKick and, that was actually probably so far the funnest 2 years of my life, being in ProKick. Before, of course, being here.
And then coming over there, of course, we won't let them know that. Johnny doing what Johnny does, he got Iowa obviously interested, and once you heard that they were interested, knowing that such a big place, big club, must have been incredible. And was it an easy decision to head there once they showed some interest?
I mean, I knew they were a pretty serious football program. I didn't really know that it was like, a pretty serious deal with punting after Tory had left. I didn't realize the big shoes that I was filling until a few months prior to leaving. When he was kicking well, and I could hear on the TV them shouting MVP when he's running on the field and all that sort of stuff. So it sort of started to get real. So when I first heard about Iowa, I was in bed. Johnny rung me and he sort of asked me if I've got a few minutes, and then rung me, told me, I think his exact words were, "You're going to fucking Iowa," if I'm allowed to swear, but
Absolutely.
that's just
that is
the
Johnny
type
all
of
over.
person he is. So I brought Dad in, and then he come in. Johnny was running us through all the details about how it's all going to go down, and I was shaking. Dad was a bit like like sort of surprised and surprised. And then Johnny gave me some gear that day. I think I was keen to go talk about this in person, so I went over to his office and got some gear off him, and then I was pretty much set on Iowa from when I first heard that. So very grateful to receive an offer, because there's so many kids in ProKick that I feel like I'd be disrespecting Johnny and all the boys if I turned down an offer. So more than happy to come here.
How was Mum and Dad? Obviously, Mum, like you said, being from America, she's probably experienced it a little bit more, but your dad having you move over and literally leave the house for the first time.
Yeah, I definitely had to grow up, it was pretty tough for Mum, as mums are, they're sad to see, baby boy leave the house. So, but, I think she's handled it well. She's been able to come out here. They watched the first 5 games. So, it's a lot easier for them to come out here as well when mum's got family here. So, definitely had to learn how to pay my own rent and worry about my own bills and finding a place to stay. Managing money a bit better. So it's definitely helped me grow up. Moving out here and Coach Woods has really helped me develop in that area too, which is my special teams coordinator. I feel like I've always been sort of pretty independent. I don't really feel homesick. I probably sound like a dick saying that, but I really don't. I love it out here. I feel like I was able to adjust really easily, and no thoughts about coming home or no negative thoughts. Yeah, really at all. So, yeah.
Knowing that you had, you met Tory and having the likes of a guy that running on the field as a punter and they're yelling out MVP, did you feel any extra pressure coming over and knowing you're replacing him?
Not really. I obviously knew that, these fans wanted, continued success. But, you just can't think about it that way. Like, that's just putting unnecessary pressure on yourself. And I'm pretty proud of myself for not worrying about it too much, because I really forgot Tory Taylor played here. It's probably hard to understand, but that's just the mindset that I have. I'm here, I'm creating my own legacy, I'm forging my own sort of career. So, that's all I've tried worrying about. And, Tory has had a talk with me about that, and, a couple other guys through the program. It's just to be myself. And, I felt like I was really able to do that under Coach Woods, and with all my teammates. They've really been supportive, and everything's been great. So, haven't felt as much pressure. Obviously just try to perform and do my best and work hard, and that's all I can control.
Yeah, I love that. You're not Tory or Rhys. You don't have to worry about what he's done. You're forging your own path. So I love that mindset and the way you're going about it. That's huge. It'll be awesome for anyone who's listening, who's thinking about that kind of thing. It's a good way to go about it. When did you finally get over there and get into training and get into classes and things like that?
So I think I got here on the 4th of January. Mind you, this is the middle of winter. I think there was 3 inches of snow when I got here, and I just wanted to jump back on the plane and head home. It was putrid. But got here, had the official visit. Got shown around where I'm going to live, all that, and then classes start on the 21st, I think. Around that time. So, I had heaps of time to sort of get settled in and readjust to the time zone, and get all my shit together, like bed and doona sorted and toiletries, all that. So, and also books and the computer. Started getting into class and workouts. I think we're on the 16th, if I can remember. But, workouts were a little bit of adjustment, moving in with these massive dudes that are throwing twice my weight around. So, getting into that, being around all these older guys was sort of a little bit daunting at first, but, they've all welcomed me in and been really good to me. So, and they've helped me out with anything that I've needed, Tories as well. So, moving in classes and workouts, went schmicko, it went fine.
The boys at ProKick always talk about how important study is. So what are you actually studying while you're over there?
Right now I'm doing a sports and rec management degree. Never been the biggest academic student, so really thought that this was sort of an easy sort of start. to my academic, career. So really been pretty easy this so far. And I also want to continue, obviously my goal is NFL, but if I was to have a career outside of NFL, it would be something in sport. So I feel like I want to work in a gym. So I feel like, sports and rec management is a good start to that. And then, I'm still not 100% sure if that's the major I want to continue with. But, I got heaps of time to decide on that.
You've spoken about lifts and classes and things like that. Now, you have to help me with the pronunciation. Is it Mazenod? Was that the
Mazenod.
Yeah, Mazenod. I'm sure they had pretty good facilities back in Melbourne, but what are the facilities like over there in Iowa? I'm sure they're next level.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if you've seen, any AFL facilities. It's way better than AFL facilities. They've got just about any sort of mechanism in the training room, and you can train almost anything in the gym. So, getting big is no problem at all. And the nutrition is massive here. Great food and great strength coaches. Everything's sort of done for you. Like they tell you what you have to do each gym lift. So it's all on a card that we just stick up on the little squat rack, and then we just follow that. They set up all the warm up stuff. We've got an indoor turf where we warm up, so that's connected to the weight room, and it's pretty easy to sort of just do the warm up and then get up and about and get into the weight room just across. So it's an amazing setup. It's just crazy how much money and how much sort of resources there are here. Mazenod, did a great job in their football program, but it's nowhere near close compared to like facilities back home. It's like crazy.
So September rolls around. You said you had Tori in there, you had your family there. But how was it walking out onto Connect Stadium for the first time? You had 70,000 people there playing against Illinois State.
Illinois State. Yeah, no, it was pretty crazy. I remember looking around, just being like, "Oh fuck yeah!" Like this is bloody nuts. It sort of went quicker than I thought it would. The swarm, but walking down that tunnel. Is just like, and then hearing, like getting closer to the crowd. And then there's a moment where we stop just before we run out. And then you sort of get a bit of time to look at like every sort of little section of the stadium. So we're like right next to the student section. Student section's to our left. So, that's absolutely pumping. And then to the right, I think, is a little bit more of the student section. So, it's so bloody loud in Kinnick. So running out, they've played the band music. I don't really listen to it because it's sort of hard to when you're running out there in front of, 70,000. So it's crazy. Yeah, it was so much fun. I was running out with both my roommates, I think, for the fourth game. And, that's like, these boys are my best mates. And that's just, like, it doesn't get better than that, running out there with your boys and looking around and just feeling the love from the fans is just, it's hard to explain the feeling.
Yeah, something that us back in Australia will never get to feel, unfortunately. So listening to you describe it and floating out on the field sounds incredible. You said you don't put much pressure on yourself, but I'm sure there is some pressure, obviously with such a big college and big stage to play on. But you've handled it extremely well in year one. 60 punts, averaging over 44 yards. What do you look back on year one and how do you think you went?
Yeah, so the first three games were against, Iowa State. That was probably the first big game that I've played in. The first three sort of games were a little shaky. The first game, I think I averaged 39.9. That was like the net or the average. I can't remember, but, not the best game that I could have produced, but, putting my foot in the door. And then the second game, I think I averaged 40 something, net 35. I can't remember the stats, but, a little bit better. Could have had a better game. That's a pretty big game for Iowa. Had a couple good punts, had a couple bad ones. It wasn't sort of until Minnesota was when I sort of started finding my feet. So that was the fourth game. That was average 49.6, I think, net 49.6. So that was arguably my best game of the year. Managed to sneak away with a little Ray Guy award of the week or whatever. So that's sort of when I started to feel a bit more confident going into the season. Was in my fourth game. I'd found my feet. Got to sort of I realized, all right, yeah, I can do this. Like, this isn't that bad. And then it sort of just, kept going from there. Average went up and, got some confidence from within my teammates as well. And Coach Woods was always there to support me as well. So I definitely sort of felt more confident as the year went on and sort of, found the groove and, found my feet. It's really just learning experience and gaining the experience that I really just tried to, to pick up. And first year, pretty happy with it. Could have been better, could have been worse. So, but I'm going to strive for better next year and just keep improving. Yeah.
As a squad, you've done pretty well. You're eligible for a bowl game, so you're playing against a ranked side as well, number 19 Missouri. But you get to play in the Tennessee Titans Stadium. How are you feeling leading into that game?
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And, I haven't really watched a lot of NFL games, but the facilities look like amazing. The turf looks mint. So, having a goal of being in the NFL, this is the closest I'm going to be until that goal is possible. So, I'm going to try and make the most of it and, but have fun. This is a game that we want to win, but it's also, we've finished the season and it's just sort of one last sort of hurrah before the year ends. So, it is in Nashville, which I've never been to Nashville, but I have heard it's a lot of fun. So, going to take it easy, but have a good time, but we're still there to work and get down to business. So, should be a lot of fun. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier, you haven't seen much of the NFL. You're not across the NFL, but you are a Dolphins fan. Did Tory not try and bring you across the Bears, mate?
No, I'm sure Tory couldn't really give a rat's ass, but I just like the colours about the Dolphins, and I can't imagine a better place to kick a ball than Miami. Nice weather, and I don't think there's a lot of wind down there, so that would be an ideal spot for a punter or a kicker, I feel like. And the fastest guy in the league is, I think, what's his name? Tyreek Hill. So that's pretty cool. I don't know who our QB is or who anyone else is, but I know Tyreek Hill. So I did actually watch a game the other day. I don't think we were doing too good. Probably the first game or second game I've ever watched. Proud to be a Dolphin.
Your QB's Tua Tagovailoa, mate, just so you know that one. Try and get your lips around that one. It's not the easiest name to say for a QB, but And definitely down in the warmer weather is better for the joints. Good for a punter when you've got nice joints,
yeah.
I reckon.
Yeah.
What does the next few months for you look like? Obviously, you get through the bowl game, and then what happens after there? Do you get some time to come home, or are you going to stay there and get back into study?
Yeah, not too sure. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to come home, but we're working through it. Usually get to come home during the spring break, which is in May, I think, April, May. So I think we get a week and a half there. I did go to Arizona last spring break, so we'll see what happens then. And then last summer, I went home. That was a good 3 weeks. So we'll probably utilize that break too, to get home and see all the boys and family. So, but yeah, no, next few months, we're going to reset after the bowl game and then take a little bit of time off and then start it again.
You said long-term goals is the NFL, but how far ahead do you look, or are you a short-term kind of goal man?
I want to say I'm sort of short-term, but the end goal is definitely to be good enough to get drafted. So, but I want to take it as short-term as I can. So, a Ray Guy Award Punter of the Week is a good start for a short-term goal. It also comes down to like, all right, what am I working on today? All right, I want to improve my balance, or I want to improve my hands, or I want to improve the height of my drop table, which is where I'm dropping the ball. So it's really just taking it day by day, and that's sort of something I've learned about punting is you can't work on a bunch of things at the same time. You've sort of just got to work at one thing and then get good at that, and then keep working on other different things until the whole product is right, and then to just keep improving that and gain consistency. So it's really just taking it day by day, and Coach Woods has definitely helped with development, and
Perfect, mate. I one last question for you, but before we do, can't thank you enough for giving up your time, especially late at night before an early lift, and coming on and having a chat with us, and just giving us an idea of what it takes to make it to such a big college like Iowa as well. So, again, just can't thank you enough for your time.
No, I appreciate having me on, Tommy, and hopefully like this can help some of the boys back home with anything, or
That's the last question, mate. For those that are watching and thinking, what, this could be a path that I could go down, do you have any advice for someone who's wanting to go down a similar path?
For younger kids, I would just say, get out there as much as you can. You're young enough to where your leg's not going to fall off after kicking. So, just get out there until you can get good enough to punt, and when you turn 18. So, and then for boys, trying to find a school, just keep at it, and keep working hard, and things will fall in place.
No, awesome, mate. I love the story. It sounds like you got a good crew around you, good coach, good OC. Wish you all the best in such a tough college, mate, and I'm sure there's some big things on the future.
Thanks, Tommy. Appreciate it.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.